Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe on a Wednesday morning, hump day, April 22nd of 2020. It's another blessed morning. We will begin by thanking God for this method of prayer and the generations that have brought it to us. If you've not done Sacred Heart Yoga before, I recommend a couple of things. One is the prayers are your prayers. They're not my prayers. I just give you the beginning of the prayer, but you have to pray what's really important to you and fill it in. And I'll give you a good 10, 12 seconds to do it. And it's usually plenty of time. The other thing is that I recommend about Sacred Heart Yoga is it's for those that are really questioning how they're supposed to be serving God. They're really called to do something but don't know what it is. And it's a method of forming a relationship with the divinity within, with what's always been within you. And so I recommend that you go through one full session and see if it fits you. It may not fit. I mean, you may not be ready. It may not be the right time. There may be 100 other things that you got to do, and that's all fine. That's all normal. But when it fits, you'll go through one of them, and it'll be something that you'll want to do, often repetitive, because it's filling in a gap in your life. And so we will begin. God, I thank you for this method of prayer, this method of praying aloud individually, of toning afterwards, and of body movements. And I thank the generations that have brought this to us, from the house of Abraham, the house of David, Jesus, his mother Mary, his father Joseph, and Mary Magdalene, and also Virginia Ellen, who wrote the wonderful book, Sacred Heart Yoga, so that anybody can practice this method of prayer anytime they want. Now we'll say the Sacred Heart Yoga prayer, and you'll repeat after me each part of it. Beloved, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to the One. And I allow myself to be purified as I rejoice in the kingdom of heaven and the love of God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments I share with my body and spirit in oneness. And so it is. Amen. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, something I've not done before is we should allow, if there's anybody new, to practice the toning after each prayer. And it's just whatever resonates with you sound-wise. So we'll just tone 3 times, and you try different frequencies, different pitches, just tone along with me. And it's saying the word Om. Om. You want to pick the pitch that feels right, resonating in your own head, your own brain, your own body. Om. Om. Now, next, we're going to clear our energy field. That means we're going to just clear our minds of distractions, things that might take us away from our true prayers, our true connection to God, to the Holy Spirit. And the way we do this in Sacred Heart Yoga is we take our hand up to the 12 o'clock position and we move it in a big circle over to the 3 o'clock, down to our right knee, down to the 6 o'clock, over to our left knee, and back up 9 o'clock and back up to the 12 o'clock position. And as we do it, repeat after me this prayer. I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them to the light. Om. Now since all of Sacred Heart Yoga is about becoming connected to God, and we do it through loving God and thanking God and serving God. So we'll set it up by asking God, how may I serve you? And the answer comes to me always in just one or two words. And so we'll take our right hand over our diaphragm, over our heart, and the prayer is, God, how may I serve? Om. Now we're going to announce what the words were that came to us, what we feel like we got. And the way we do that, oops, I just dropped the microphone. The way we do that is we stand and we take our hands out forward. And what the words were, whatever came to us, we announce as our intention to serve is. So the beginning of the prayer, and you fill in the rest, is, God, my intention to serve you is. Om. Now we sit back down on the mats and lay down on our backs, and we begin the first prayers to the right side. We'll kind of exercise the right side of our body, which is considered the masculine side. So we go to resting position, always in between the different sections. Arms at our sides, hands at our sides, our legs outstretched. And the first position, we pull our right knee up to our chest. And the prayer begins with, Father, I love you. And then Father, I thank you, and you fill in the rest. Om. Now we hold that right foot with our left hand, pull it over to our left thigh, and let our right knee kind of fall down towards the mat. And this time our right arm goes up above our heads, straight above our heads, and lays down flat on the floor. And here the prayer begins with, Father, I love you. And then, Father, I thank you. Om. Now we switch hands. We take our right foot in our right hand and we pull it down to our pelvis. And our left arm goes above our heads this time and stretches out down to the mat. And here the beginning of the prayer is, Father, I love you. And Father, I thank you. Om. Now we let that left foot go up towards the heavens, still holding it with our, right foot up towards the heavens, still holding it with our right hand. And here the prayer begins with, Father, I love you. And then, Father, I thank you. Om. Now we let that right foot go up towards the heavens and fall out to the right side, extending, opening up our pelvis. And then we let our arms fall out from our shoulders, out and palms up, and let them fall down to the mat. And here the prayer begins with, Father, I love you. Then, Father, I thank you. Om. Now we keep our arms outstretched and that our heads get turned to the right and our right leg goes across our body over to the left side. And we want to keep our shoulders down on the mat, nice and flat. And here the prayer begins with, Father, I love you. Father, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our feet outstretched, legs outstretched, our hands at our sides. And this time we do the left side of our body, which is considered the feminine side in this style of yoga. We pull our left knee up to our chest. And here the prayer begins with, and you fill in the rest. Mother, I love you. And then, Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we hold that left foot with our right hand, pull it over to our right thigh, and let our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm goes above our heads and lays down on the mat also. And here the prayer begins with, Mother, I love you. And then, Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we swap hands. That left foot goes over to our left hand, and pull a foot down to our pelvis. Our right arm goes over our heads and stretches down to the mat. And here the prayer begins with, Mother, I love you, and Mother, I thank you. Om. Now that left foot goes up towards the heavens, and we hold it with our left hand, pull our knee down to the mat, and our right arm stays above our heads. And here the prayer begins with, Mother, I love you, and Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we let that left foot go up towards the heavens and let it fall out to the left side. And this time our arms go straight out to the sides from our chest, palms up, and lay them down onto the mat. And the prayer begins with, oh, Mother, I love you, and Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the left this time, and that left leg goes across our bodies over to the right side, keeping our shoulders down on the mat. And here the prayer begins with, Mother, I love you, and Mother, I thank you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. This time we join both the feminine and the masculine together in prayer. We pull our both knees up to our chest. And the prayer is beginning with, God, I love you, and God, I thank you. Now we take our right foot in our right hand and our left foot in our left hand, pull them down to our pelvis, soles of our feet together, letting our knees fall out to the sides. And the prayer begins with, God, I love you, and God, I thank you. Om. Now we pull our feet apart, keeping them down near the pelvis. And the prayer begins with, God, I love you. And then, God, I thank you. Om. Now we let our feet go up towards the heavens, still hanging on to them with our hands. And the prayer begins with, God, I love you. And then, God, I thank you. Om. Now we let our feet fall down to the mat near our pelvis. And this time our arms go outstretched again from our chest, and this time palms down. We turn our heads to the left and bend our knees over to the right side, keeping our shoulders down on the mat. And the prayer is, God, I love you, and God, I thank you. Om. Now we turn our heads to the right and take our knees and turn them over to the left side. And here the prayer is, God, I love you, and God, I thank you. Now we go back to resting position, our feet outstretched, our arms at our sides. And this time we go into the surrender pose, which we sit on our hands with our sit bone, and we lean up on our elbows and we lean back. And the prayer is surrendering anything that might be bothering you, that might be distracting you from prayer, from your connection to God and the Holy Spirit. And you let it float away like this light ribbon and the blowing away, floating away on a breeze. And the way you do it is you get up, you arch on your back, your top of your heads go back towards the mat. And the prayer begins with, God, I surrender to you. Om. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. And this time we take our left arm and extend it up, our hand towards the heavens, our arm toward the heavens, and let it fall over to the right side. And we grab between our left elbow and left shoulder with our right hand, pulling it over farther. And here the prayer begins with, God, I choose. Om. Now we switch arms. Our right arm goes up towards the heavens and it falls down to the left side. And we take our left hand halfway between our right elbow and right shoulder. And here the prayer begins with, God, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, our legs outstretched, our arms at our sides. And now this is the tabernacle series. We form a tabernacle by pulling our feet up to our pelvis and letting our knees fall out. And it forms a little triangle, a house for God, a tabernacle. And then we form a second tabernacle over our hearts by putting our hands in prayer position and extending them up towards the heavens, about 2/3 the way up. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, we find God's wonderful chalice. It's filled with any gift we could ever want or ever ask for in service to helping God and serving God. And here the prayer begins with, God, I drink from your chalice the gift of. Om. Now we take our hands over our heads, down towards the mat, down on the mat, elbows out, and this forms a tabernacle over our entire bodies. And here the prayer begins with, God, I thank you for my body. Om. Now we're going to go through the anoint series, and we'll do it 3 different times. And the way it works is we take our thumbs in prayer position and touch our foreheads. And here we anoint, and it can be any gift that we want, anything that we ask for from the chalice, anything that we drank, anything we need in service to God. So we anoint it. And then we move our thumbs down to our lips, and we bless this gift. And we dedicate it in service to God. And then we move our hands in prayer position down over our hearts. Here we thank God for this gift. And then we take our fingers and point them down into or towards our pelvis, into our abdomens, and extend our arms out to the 3 o'clock position, and then back to the 12 o'clock, and then back to our foreheads for the second series. And here the prayer is that we fill our bodies with this wonderful gift from God. And then we tone at the end. So we'll begin the first one in the series. And the prayer begins with, God, I anoint your gift of. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and here the prayer is, God, I bless this gift of, and God, I dedicate this gift in service to you. Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position over our hearts, and here the prayer begins with, God, I thank you for this gift of. Om. Now we point our fingers down and extend them out. And the prayer begins with, God, I fill my body with. Om. Now we take our thumbs back to our foreheads for the second anointing, and we'll do 3 total. And here the prayer begins with, God, I anoint.
Om. Now we move our thumbs down to our lips. And here the prayer begins with, God, I bless, and God, I dedicate it in service to you. Om. Now we take our hand, excuse me. We take our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here we begin our prayers with, God, I thank you for. Om. Now we take our hands and the prayer, point them down towards our abdomen and extend them out. And the prayer begins with, God, I fill my body with. Om. Now we'll do it one final time. We'll take our thumbs to our foreheads. And the prayer is, God, I anoint. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and the prayer begins with, God, I bless, and God, I dedicate it in service to the One. Om. Now we move our hands down over our hearts, and here the prayer begins with, God, I thank you for this gift of. Om. Now we bend our fingers down towards our abdomen and extend them out. And here the prayer begins with, God, I fill my body with. Om. Now we go back to resting position. We take our hands and put them at our sides and our legs outstretched. This time we cross our right ankle over our left ankle and our right wrist over our left wrist over our hearts. And here the prayer begins with, God, I thank you for your protection and safety. And Now we go back to resting position, our hands at our sides, our feet outstretched, and we roll over on our side, and we use our hands and our arms to push ourselves up into sitting position. And this time our right leg goes straight out in front of us. Our left foot goes across our right knee, and we hold our left knee with our right arm, turning to the left with our heads and supporting ourselves with our left arm behind our backs. And here the prayer is, desire I am, desire I am, desire I am, I desire. Om. Now we change legs. Our left leg goes straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes across our left knee. And we hold our right knee with our left arm, turning to the right this time with our head and shoulders, supporting ourselves with the right arm behind our back. And here the prayer is, will I am, will I am, will I am, I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees and we hold our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here the prayer begins with, God, I thank you for. Om. Now we kind of sway back and then lean forward into child's pose, where we put our hands down on the mat and we form a triangle with the tips of our thumbs together and the tips of our fingers together over our forehead. And here we just feel God's presence, God's love, God's wisdom filling our bodies. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And this time, our right leg goes out to the right side. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And the prayer begins with, it's God I will or God I am, whatever you feel like this day. I'll just say the I am one. So the prayer begins with, God I am. Om. Now we switch legs. The left leg goes out this time. Our right foot comes into the inside of our left thigh. And here the prayer begins with, God, I will. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And this time we put our hands, palms up on our knees, and our thumbs touch our middle two fingers. And we keep our back straight, and we're going to bend forward. We're going to bow at our hips and keep our back straight. And first, we're going to bow to our bodies, our humanity, our mind. And then second, we're going to bow to the divinity within, however we see him. So we bend forward at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. And here the prayer begins with, I bow to my body. Om. Now we sit back up straight. And this time we bow a second time. And the prayer begins with, God, I bow to your divinity. Om. Now we sit back up straight. And this time we fill our bodies with God's light, God's love, God's wisdom. And we do this by doing first the feminine side, the left side of our pelvis, where we're grounded to the earth. And we feel the mother's beautiful white light filling our bodies. Her white light of love, of nurturing, of creation, creating new cells in our bodies, creating new living things everywhere, all over the earth. And God, the mother's loving white light fills our legs as it comes up through our bodies, fills our abdomens, fills our diaphragms, our hearts, just filled with this wonderful white light of love, our lungs filled with this white light of love. And it comes up through our throats, up through our heads,
And this white light of Mother's love goes out the tops of our heads up into the heavens, and it showers back down on the whole earth around us. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis, where it's grounded, we feel God the Father's wonderful blue light, His wisdom, His knowing, His doing. This blue light filling our bodies, filling our legs with the knowledge of everything every cell needs to know to recreate itself and to grow and heal. The knowledge that goes, the blue light goes into our abdomen, goes up into our hearts, filling our hearts with this knowingness, filling our lungs, filling our throats. This blue light comes up through our heads, out the tops of our heads, and it shines up into the heavens and showers down all around us. Now we step up into the light above our heads. And here we can stay as long as we want in this peace-filled area. And here we ask just one question. God, what is it that I need to know?